Hello YouTube world, MacDaddy191181 here with the Shade Tree Survivalists. And what if you are wrong is the title of this video. So without further ado, let's get her done. Before I begin, I would like to take a moment to urge everyone out there watching this video to take the time to study the political history of man in the 20th and so far during the 21st century. From the celebrated and loved politicians and leaders to the villains, dictator, and despots. Why are each loved and admired or hated and feared by those that lived through each of those individuals' reign of power? Do not waste your time reading about these leaders in works from historians or other learned folks. No. Read books or watch documentaries from people who lived with the policies of each of those leaders. In some cases, died from those policies. Anne Frank's diary being a prime example. Look for sources written by folks who did not benefit by a ruler's policies, and you'll understand the common man's or woman's life under each versus some rosy account of a master politician. Love them or hate them, all were masters of their chosen profession and should be respected for that, if for no other reason. A friend recently said that we as a group, gun owners, should blend in with the rest of the population so we don't stick out. As an everyday concealed carry tactic, I agree wholeheartedly. However, as an overall strategy to keep our right to bear arms, that would be a disaster, ladies and gentlemen. So with that in mind, I decided to do this video. This video may not sway anyone's view of the current political situation as of February 2014, when I should have actually shot this damn video. But it might. Therefore, I feel it is worth my time to try. So here we go. What if? What if all legally owned firearms were confiscated by the government? Would that also include all the illegal guns? I seriously damn doubt it. What would that also prevent or stop the already illegal acts of murder, the gun trade, drug trade, human trafficking, sex slave trade, child pornography, kidnapping, incest, rape, burglary, theft, stabbings, beatings, vehicular manslaughter, drug overdoses, and any form of bullying in which the strong take from the weak by force? Have all the existing laws been able to do that? Some would say, sure, maybe a new law outlawing all guns, if they were all confiscated, it would do that. But here's the question again. And what if you are wrong? The problem, as I know it, is one of evil. Evil does exist, and there are people out there who are evil, ladies and gentlemen. Jeffrey Dahmer, for instance, he was evil. The hijackers on 9/11/2001 were evil. They were targeting civilians, after all, were they not? How about the nut job out in Arizona at the theater shooting? He is evil. What about the nut job up in Connecticut at the school that killed himself? He was evil. How about Saddam Hussein and his sons? They were definitely evil. What about Mao Zedong, the leader of Communist China? He was evil. Killed over 40 million of his own people. How about Joseph Stalin? He was evil, ladies and gentlemen. He killed 40 million of his own people. And of course Adolf Hitler, who kicked off World War II. and damn near decimated the Jewish population in all of Europe. He was evil. Just because our world has such great new technology does not eliminate evil, ladies and gentlemen. Every single one of the evil acts I just described are already illegal, yet those evil acts still happen every single day. Our prisons are full because some people simply do not care about law and order. Side note on that, a lot of folks in prison is a one-time thing. They made a mistake. I think if they were rehabilitated when they got out, and they could go ahead and get a job and work and pay the taxes and so forth, they ought to be given that opportunity. But many, 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 many are repeat offenders over and over and over and over. They'll continue to do crime. They'll continue to disobey the rules of society. And therefore, there they are. When I applied for the job of security officer, I had to take a 3-day class for private investigator / security officer, as set forth by state law. That's right. I had to have training in order to be licensed in the state of Georgia to count trucks, which is actually quite a bit more to my job than that, but that's one of the primary functions of the current post I have. Though I thought it was pathetic, the training that is, 3 days, actually 2.5, versus 8 40-hour weeks when I went to get my CDL. The training made a point that is relevant to this discussion. Police officers generally, especially in small towns, generally have very little impact in preventing crime. Did you catch that? They have very little impact in actually preventing crime. They're law enforcement. They get there after someone has called for help, 911. All right, someone's calling for 911. They're not going to say, well, in about 5 minutes, blah, blah, blah is going to happen. You ought to get your police officers over here. No, it's all right. Well, there's a robbery in progress, or somebody's getting the hell beat out of them by a mob out here. You need to get somebody over here. They don't prevent crime. They're there to stop it while it's in progress if they can, and usually clean up the damn mess afterwards. They simply cannot be everywhere at once. Security officers, on the other hand, though having zero authority to arrest anyone other than a citizen's arrest, do fill a vital role. We are trained and required to observe and report. If we observe suspicious activity, we are then directed by our commanding officer or post orders to call the professionals. That be the POPO, the fire department, paramedics, whatever the case may be. In that way, we are the eyes and ears for law enforcement and first responders. In that way, we help prevent crime in our area of operation. Yet even with all the modern technology we may employ, such as high-definition video cameras and alarms and electric fences and radios and telephones and so forth, crime still happens. Even with dedicated and diligent police officers patrolling their beat and concerned citizens and security officers helping by reporting crimes in progress, like I just said, all of us, pros and amateurs alike, working together can never be everywhere at once. The only thing that will stop a madman with a gun, ladies and gentlemen, or a group of scumbags intent on beating hell out of somebody or killing someone, is a good guy with a gun. Just like Wayne LaPierre of the NRA said. Isn't that what first responders do? Police officers, FBI, so forth. Good guys with guns coming to stop the bad guys. Part 2. Dictators. Can you, the viewer, name the one thing that brought both the United States of America and NATO, as well as the USSR, now Russia, to the negotiating table to talk about nuclear arms reduction? I'll give you a hint. M-A-D. MAD. MAD stands for Mutually Assured Destruction. Neither power could make the other power unilaterally disarm or even reduce its stockpile of nuclear arms. Neither country or alliance, actually, the Warsaw Pact versus NATO, neither country could successfully attack the other without sustaining so much damage from a counterstrike that it was a lose-lose proposition for each. Because of that knowledge, both sides remained alert, yet never attacked the other. At least nothing that might spark an all-out nuclear exchange. Regardless of what the leaders might say to or about the other, there was that knowledge, and that sure knowledge, along with the many steps required to launch a nuclear strike, gave each country's leadership time to think of the consequences if they initiated the unthinkable. You know what we call that, ladies and gentlemen? We call that a moment of pause. A moment of pause. Time for the leadership and their advisors to debate the decision and to stop before it was too damn late. Thank God they did, ladies and gentlemen. Otherwise, we'd all be glowing in the damn dark and probably all be dead by now. Our Second Amendment is that moment of pause for our leaders here in the United States. Whether you like it or hate it, the Second Amendment is there for exactly that reason. It has zero to do with hunting or with competition or any other damn thing. It has zero to do with law enforcement or the professional military. A professional standing army was, at the time of the American Revolution and since, the biggest threat to freedom yet devised. Terrorists may terrorize and kill and blow stuff up. However, outside the borders of their home countries, they do not have the manpower or material support to occupy a damn thing. Note, we all have heard, and well, if you're keeping up on the news, about ISIS. And they've taken parts of Iraq, and they've taken parts of Syria, and so forth. They may be the exception to the rule, but they are only an exception to the rule. Yet a large, well-funded, well-trained professional army's job is to take and hold territory, or to defend said territory from an invading army. And who controls professional national armies? The lying class, politicians. If you'll remember the reaction that the King of England had upon hearing the news that our very first president, George Washington, had willingly stepped down and left the power of president to retire, his reaction was astonishment, disbelief. He and I would imagine every other monarch couldn't understand, because that was a first. Power, not money, is what drives so many politicians into that profession. Power, like money, once acquired, is very addictive and hard to let go of. That is why our system, as screwed up as it is still the best there is on this planet. For far longer than any other nation, we have been electing our leaders, and after a time, they either A, retire, or they are unelected. In other words, booted to the curb tenfold. But when their time is up, then by God, it's up. They got to go. And they leave office. What if, you knew I was going to throw that in there, didn't you? What if they refused, even though the majority had elected someone else? What if they held so much sway with our military and police, and those two organizations were willing to back them and help keep them in power? What would stop them from arresting or killing any and all their rivals? What would stop them from arresting or killing any and all protesters? Oh yeah. There is that pesky Second Amendment again, ladies and gentlemen. The Second Amendment was meant for that, and that alone. It is that moment of pause that every leader, every government body should be confronted with if they contemplate rule by dictate without regard for the welfare of the people. What if we are wrong and the people rise up and say enough as is enough should always be on our leaders' mind. Because we don't mess around, ladies and gentlemen. Those are the two reasons that the Second Amendment are here. Only a good guy with a gun can stop a bad guy with a gun. And only the Second Amendment and the people, as in we the people, have enough power to put a stop to a damn tyrannical government if they decide they are not going to leave power when we say they're going to. The perfect illustration of this right now, you have folks on the left who would like to silence conservatives, who want to silence us on YouTube and on Facebook. I've seen stories and read stories. Now, maybe they're 100% true, maybe they're not. I don't know, ladies and gentlemen. But I can tell you this, even if only half of what you see about that is true, then they're trying to set it up so that one side or the other has all the damn power. And then once they have consolidated that power, the same as in Russia, the same as in Nazi Germany, they will eliminate the voices that are on the other side. I said no, not only no, but hell no, God bless America. So I hope you refuse to give up your Second Amendment rights. I hope that you, just like I, support either the NRA or some other pro-gun organization and have your voice heard. I hope that you are like me and you vote for pro-Second Amendment candidates. I hope that you are like me and some of the crap that even the Republicans, some of the people we voted for, they're starting their stupid crap up. I hope you guys up there in Ohio and Kentucky will vote Boehner and Mitch McConnell to the curb. Well, we just had an election back there at 1911 May 1. Well, damn it, there's something called a recall. You tenfold Roger me? Recall their ass. They've already lied to us. The Second Amendment is that moment of pause, ladies and gentlemen, for our politicians. That's what it was there for. Self-defense on the street is secondary to that, in my opinion. The primary thing is to let the government know we are in control still. Maybe we get a little bit lazy. Maybe we get a little lethargic. Maybe we just get dissatisfied or disillusioned is the word I'm looking for. Disillusioned with the system, and we don't do what we should be doing. But in the end, they will obey or they will pay the consequences. That is what the Second Amendment is for. But like the original question, and what if you are wrong? That goes to the liberals out there who do want to ban guns and so forth. What if the moment you do that, the next president turns out to be a conservative? And instead of your guy going around lopping off heads and killing people, what if that guy or gal turns out to be after you? You didn't think of that, did you? That's a question for all of us, because it doesn't matter whether they're conservative, Republican, like Nixon, who tried to abuse the powers in his office, or like Obama, who's doing the exact same thing, or like they thought Bush was doing and we all thought Clinton was doing. Doesn't matter whose party's in control. Ultimate power, absolute power corrupts absolutely. So you have to have a counterbalance to that. That is where the Second Amendment comes in. Okay? We have more power than they do. Alright? Regardless of what you think, unless they shot off the nukes, and they ain't going to make it. I mean, they may live in a hole some damn where if they did that. But they're not going to be able to come out and enjoy their empire. Just more food for thought, ladies and gentlemen. Should have made this video a long time ago, but something was missing and I had to go in. I read it out this morning, shot a video, went back and watched it, and when I watched it, it clicked. Alright, the first part of it I left out, the whole part where It is a good guy with a gun that'll stop the bad guys with a gun. Because just because there's a law written, just because the police try to enforce it does not mean they can. They cannot close the borders. They cannot stop the drug trade. They cannot stop prostitution. They cannot stop the beatings and the murders and the robberies and all the different things that go on in this country. The rapes, the child molesters, the scumbags of the universe. They cannot stop them with a damn law, and there's just not enough of them to go around. So it is up to us as individuals. If we're confronted with that damn evil, in our own neighborhoods, at work, whatever the hell the case may be, to be able to repel those sons of bitches and put a stop to it. This is Mac Daddy 1911A1 with the Shade Tree Survivalist. I hope you got something from it. Thank you very much for watching. Y'all have a great day.